Hey, what's up guys? And first of all, some of the old what if from my past that I see that you guys are not interested in, I'm putting them to a stop guys. I'm merely going through the channels and realizing some of them you guys are, well, not interested to watch. So yeah, some of the old ones are gonna come to a stop. But new ones are coming in to take your place, like right here right now. As I'm gonna be giving you part 1 of What If Naruto Rewrite the Past. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay tuned for the rest of the What Ifs coming your way over an Anime King and Anime King 3. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, we'll just begin this new episode. Start the intro. Uzumaki Naruto looked up as the door to his workroom opened up. A dark-skinned man, very tall, entered the room. As he looked rather weary, there were several scrapes on him that Naruto did not recall seen before. The man flashed through hand signs the door became a dull grey color before returning back to its original color. I take it from your appearance, we've been located again, said Naruto. We both know that it was only a matter of time. We're holding our own now, as usual. It won't last for long though. It never does. The man's eyes moved towards the ground, where the blonde was working. Are you sure that you know what you have to do? Naruto sighed for the 100th time, since he has been setting up and duplicating and rediscovering the technique. Yes, Darui, said Naruto. I know what I have to do. I wish we didn't have to resort to something like this, but I'm a shinobi. I'll get it done. Darui gave Naruto a nod before stepping away from where Naruto was prepping the seal. If all went as planned, they could stop the horrors of the current world and make a good attempt of righting various wrongs that happened, especially in recent memories. The only problem was, even with the power of the last 3 bijuu behind them, they could only send one person. I can try and get the others out there and drag them in here if you would like. For you to say goodbye, said Darui. Naruto scowled for a moment as he closed his eyes, as he let his head hang. It's not a good idea. I rather remember everyone as they were when I talked to them last. There aren't many of us left, and I'm sure that they will understand. As Naruto's expression became more solemn, as he put the finishing touch on the seal that he was creating. Besides, if this is successful, none of you will exist as you are anymore. Darui grunted at that. They have been over this many times before. This seal was a secret project of theirs, which had taken them nearly a year to complete. During that time, their forces had gone from being a majority of the combined nations, shinobis, but now it was just brave few survivors who refused to give up. Scouring the ruins of Uza had led them to find this very useful technique that was buried deep under tons of rubbles, and it would need more chocolate than they had available to empower it. Considering all the shinobi still with them, they weren't enough to power it. As a result, with his Fuinjutsu knowledge, he was able to adjust the seal to take bijuu chakra. Fuinjutsu was a lost art, Naruto believed, since he was considered to be the most skilled practical user amongst all shinobis that were still fighting. He had only studied under Jiraiya, and to a lesser extent, Kakashi, for about a year. Unfortunately, they were losing, and everyone knew that they wouldn't last long, for at least another year, before attrition weighed them down. Hence the seal that they were working on. It was supposed to be a last-ditch attempt of completely altering the timeline that they were currently in. But they had no idea if it would work or not. But if they were all going to be captured or killed anyway, well, it doesn't really matter, now did it? Let's do this, Kurama, said Naruto, as Darui shifted a bit. As he realized that it was time, as Darui brought up his fist. As Naruto looked towards the fist before grinning, as he bumped fists to the man. I didn't really want to say anything, but if you get a chance, try to help out those who stuck with you till the bitter end. You have to ask? Naruto said that grin, as Darui got a bit sheepish. Sorry, it's fine, said Naruto. Of course I'll try, but it will suck because none of you will remember me. And I'll be an old man by the time I manage to help any of you individually. You're Uzumaki. Don't you have really long lifespan or something like that? Yeah, but that doesn't mean I won't look old. You'll be young. I doubt you want to hang out with an old geezer. You worry too much, said Darui, as he gave a smile. Give them hell, he said. As Naruto watched his friend walk back to the door to deactivate the seal, he gave him one final nod as he left. As Naruto chakra started to flood through his feet, and then into the ground. Ready when you are, Kurama. Very well. Hang on. I have a feeling that this is gonna hurt. If it does, then it does. I'm used to pain, said Naruto, as Kurama snorted at that, as he focused his chakra into the seal, as Naruto's body lit up with a bright yellow glow, with the sage markings all over his cloak. The power output will be massive because they need to use all of his chakra as well, and the Kyubis, to power the seal that they had. The ear started to tremble as flashes of blue, and red chakra started to appear in the ear. Instead of creating a purple, it created a brilliant golden, as everything went white. A bright light just swallowed the entire area, and then he was no more. Flashback. You do realize when we go back, my consciousness will no longer exist within you, said Kurama. Naruto had snapped look at his lifetime companion. For most of his life, they had barely been on speaking terms. But with the events surrounding the Fourth Great Shinobi War and his temporary capture, all of that changed. Naruto's will was much stronger than Madara could even fathom, and he was able to keep the last bijuu sealed away inside himself. Don't give me that look. I can only exist at one place in time, therefore my consciousness will return to where I was sealed at the moment, wherever that might be. But what about your chakra? Kurama chuckled at that. So no, you wish to use my chakra, said Kurama. Naruto shrugged. Well, it has proven rather convenient on more than one occasions. I have no answer for you. I don't know what will happen, other than I will probably wake up in one of my previous hosts when we arrive. But will you remember, said Naruto. There was a moment of silence. Yes, said Kurama. I believe I will remember. In the flashback, as Naruto felt pain all over, the last thing he remembered was the room going white, and his body felt like it was yanked violently for hours or minutes or days or years. He couldn't really comprehend how much time he has been yanked for. He was heavy, tired, weak. His body was sore, but it wasn't as much when Madara had tried to yank the cube out of him. That was worse. He ached all over, but his back was paining him the worst. He opened his eyes slowly as he blinked, as he saw the bright blue sky. He reached up to rub his eyes, but he could not. He tried, but he could not. Hokage-sama, he's awake. The voice he heard was so familiar, a voice that he recalled hearing once upon a time, but he could not remember or put his finger on it. As Naruto was groggy for a few seconds as he racked his brain, trying to figure out exactly what was going on, where exactly he was. As everything came back to him, the bright light, yes, everything. His memory there seemed to be a bit tampered with, but now he remembered everything quite well. Kurama, the seal, time travel, the bright light, it all made sense, but where exactly did he end up? You can relax, young man. I see that you have a leaf headband, but I do not recognize you as one of my own. We have you bound at the moment until you can explain yourself. You've made quite the ruckus. It's not every day I find a shinobi lying not far outside the village walls after all, in a massive crater. The voice did not sound old, but Naruto knew who it was, as he let out a barking laugh. Is that you, old man? He said. He heard a few murmurs and snickers around him until the third Hokage spoke up. I don't believe that I'm quite that old yet, but if you recognize my voice without seeing me, I am probably who you think I am. Naruto's lips quirked into a smile. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, said Naruto. You would be correct. The problem does remain though. I do not know who you are. As Naruto's eyes were open, tears were running down the side of his face, going down towards his ears. He was on his back and now staring at the cloudless blue sky. He wanted to blurt out who he was so badly, but he had already discussed the problem of doing that with Daruri and Kurama. Thinking about Kurama, he started to check if Kurama was still there. But the consciousness of the bijuu was no longer there, exactly as Kurama said. But there was a large amount of Kurama's chakra still remaining inside of him. He was upset that his friend was gone, but he still had a mission to accomplish, somehow. I have things I need to tell you, said Naruto, but only you alone can hear them. I'm afraid that is not possible. Naruto sighed internally. They had figured that would be a likely scenario. But their scenarios did not have Naruto captured and bound the moment he arrived. He could break out of the bonds eventually, but he was too tired right now. Not to mention, if he just broke out right here and now, it would destroy any trust that would have developed between them. As Naruto started to look around, moving his head left and right, as his mind ran through different scenarios, hoping that the old man listened to him and not just dump him in the IT department. There were only a handful of Andus around him, but they were not too close. The third was behind him, where his head was resting, and he could not see him. He was in a crater in the middle of the forest. He must have created a panic within Konoha, as he just crash landed like this. Are Jiraiya or Chimara and Tsunade around? Naruto asked. There was a moment of silence, as Hiruzen told him that they were out on village business. What about Hatsuki, Sakumo? Even more silence followed until Sarutobi started to answer him, his voice taking on an aggressive tone. I am not sure what is your aim here, young man, but I'm not going to tell you about any of my shinobis in my care. As Naruto nodded to himself, he was figuring that that would be the case, but he was trying to examine how far he had come to see where he was. But that's gonna have to wait until he gained trust, if that was even possible at this point. Gather one or two other people you trust the most, and a Yamanaka that you trust as well. If you want to have others just around in case, that will be fine, but I can only speak to what I know to those that you trust. You can keep me bound the entire time, if you wish. There were many moments of silence, but Naruto knew that the Hokage was communicating with his Anzu, making hand signs that he became very familiar with. They were going to move him to a structure nearby that was outside the walls of Konoha. We will be moving you somewhere nearby, and I will gather those I trust, as you say. I assume that your desire for Yamanaka is so that he can tell me that you're being truthful. Yes, if Inuichi is available, he's the one I will trust the most, but I can understand if that is not possible. Hiruzen walked around Naruto, as Naruto could see him for the first time. He definitely looked much younger than the last time Naruto saw him, before his death. You should sleep for now, young man. Before Naruto could understand what's going on, Hiruzen made a hand sign as feathers started to fall over Naruto's face. As he fell asleep, Naruto wasn't sure how much time passed. As he slowly woke up, he was in an underground room or something like that. Torches were on the wall. There was only a single door at the entrance. Hiruzen was there in his fully Hokage battle uniform, and he was talking to a much younger Danzo Shimura in his traditional Jonin attire. In the nearby corner was a younger man, as Naruto recognized him as a young Inuichi, as he was currently writing in a notepad. As Naruto looked at his arms and legs, they were bound on an iron chair, which suppression seals to keep his chakra down. This could hold his normal chakra, but the Kyuubi chakra that was regenerating inside of him could rip these apart, and not to mention Senjutsu. He leaned forward and stretched a bit, making himself comfortable. Hiruzen, said Danzo. He's awake. As Hiruzen turned his gaze towards Naruto, as Inuichi stopped and looked towards Naruto a bit nervously. I'm afraid that you awakened faster than I expected. Last person I called for is not here yet. It's fine, said Naruto. I got nothing but time anyway. This caused Hiruzen to chuckle, if nothing else. Indeed. Do you have a name I can call you? You can call me Naruto for now. I'll tell you my clan name once I know you trust me a little bit. Very well, Naruto. That sounds fair. The door opened as another older looking male walked through the door. At first, Naruto thought that Kakashi had survived and somehow made it to the past as well. But his hair was not leaning to the side, and the man was taller than Kakashi. It was likely his father. The man nodded at Danzo and Hiruzen as his gaze wandered over towards Naruto. There was no spark of recognition in the man's eyes, not that Naruto was expecting one. Very well, Naruto. Since we're all here now, perhaps you could pique my curiosity and tell me who everyone in this room is. Naruto nodded as he moved his gaze from one person next as he said all of their names. The three that never met him before looked towards him in surprise. From Inoichi, surprised look. Sakamoto, stern face, and Danzo, slight twitch. So know that you established that you know all of us, without any of us giving you our identity. You might tell us why you arrived out of Konoha in a massive crater. You wear the insignia of Uzumaki, and you have the leaf headband, but I've never seen you before in my life. You probably won't believe me, said Naruto. That is why I asked you to bring a Yamanaka. But I'm from the future. There was a silence that fell over the entire group. Danzo leaned over to Hiruzen and whispered a few words that Naruto couldn't quite catch, as Hiruzen nodded. Exactly how far in the future, Naruto, Hiruzen asked. Well, that depends, said Naruto. I was born a little over a year after the Third Shinobi War. I'm 19 now, so it's been that long since the end of that war. As the four men look at each other, before they share a nod. Sand and Rock has had a few skirmishes lately, but there hasn't been any declaration as of yet. The second war ended a few years ago. It seems we're right to prepare for another one. As Naruto nodded, Sand won't be an issue later on, and they later ally with us. But Konoha doesn't get involved until a lot of battles happen between the Sand and Rock in the Hidden Rain. Konoha will have to join the war to protect our minor nations that we're allied with, Water, Fall, and Grass. While Rock uses a small amount of their force to keep the Sand occupied, they start to focus on us. We also have a few skirmishes with Kumo, but nothing like the Second Great Shinobi War. Danzo narrowed his eyes as he spoke. If you were not alive during that time, how do you know the specific details of what happened? As Naruto glanced towards the man, history is written by the victor, isn't it? That got a chuckle of the three grown men in the room, all of them offering a nod. Danzo even smiled a bit. That was something Naruto never saw before. Not that he had that much memories of the man. So we win then. As Naruto looked towards Sakamoto. Yes, we win. But I think I should keep as little information that I can from getting out. So, if anything possibly change, I would know what is coming, so we can prepare. Sarutobi didn't seem to like the aspect of Naruto holding back information, but Danzo and Sakamoto seemed to think that was the best course of action. As Hiruzen motioned for Inoichi to come forward, as Naruto wasn't sure what age he was, but he looked like he was in his late teens. I can only guess that you know about Inoichi in the future, since you called him here. You already know what his abilities are, correct? Naruto nodded. I'll try to focus on my most recent memories, especially the ones I remember talking to you in the future. It should make it easier, right? Inoichi nodded as he grabbed a chair and sat right in front of Naruto, as he went through hand signs before reaching out and held Naruto's forehead. As Naruto was able to line up his time travel memories in his mind and present them to Inoichi. It didn't take as long as he thought it would. Inoichi was still skilled even now. What felt like 2 or 3 minutes later, Inoichi inhaled as he gave Naruto a rather solemn look before turning towards Hokage. He's telling the truth, Hokage-sama. I saw a few of his memories and they all match up. I saw what you look in the future, as well as myself. Could they perhaps be carefully constructed memories? Inoichi shook his head no. They're in the part of his mind and the rest of his memories are, and not like daydreams. Anything that he speaks of did happen. I see, said Hiruzen as he rubbed his chin. Well, Naruto, it seems like you say you are who you are, but I'm unsure if that is good or bad. What could have possibly possessed you to travel back in time? Is the future that terrible? We lost the Fourth Great Shinobi War, said Naruto. What? How? As Danzo was the one to quickly spoke up. We lost because of a lot of internal strikes and issues. After the near death of the fifth Hokage, we didn't have necessary leadership in the beginning of the war efforts, and most of our internal affairs were stalled. Madara managed to control all except for one of the bijuu, and with no senju to oppose him, the united shinobi army was worn out and whittled away through attrition. All of the men in front of him paled as Naruto started to talk about Madara. He knew if nothing else that would get their attention. Stopping Madara was his number one objective after all. I came back in time to stop Madara. He's a power-hungry madman who believed that he alone has the right to rule over the elemental nation. His goal was to put everyone into a dream where there would be peace even though it's fake. All of the nations rise against him because none of us want to live our life as puppets. Do you have a plan for stopping him? Everyone turned towards Sakumo. Unfortunately, that's what I came to the past figure out. I need to get stronger somehow, in order to stop him. We figure if we could somehow also help Konoha and our allies stronger in the past, we could stand up to him in the future. Danzo and Sakumo both nodded slowly. Sarutobi accepted though with a grim smile. As Naruto continued, there are some things I can tell all of you, but some things I should probably only tell the old man before passing by all of you, said Naruto. Agreed, Hiruzen said, as the other Shira looked before giving a nod as well. Even though Danzo did not look very happy, but he was accepting it, much Naruto's curiosity. He didn't have much interaction with the man before, but he heard plenty from Sai after the temporary Hokage's death. As Hiruzen made a gesture as in a way to start removing Naruto bindings, as Sakumo spoke for the second time. So Naruto, what was your rank in Konoha of the future? As Naruto shrugged, officially, I didn't think I ever made it above Genin. At least not on paper. That's it? Why was someone like you, a mere Genin, was sent back with this important job? Danzo asked. Because I was the last leader of the United Shinobi Army. While we can have Inuichi tell me if you are, that still dodged my question, why were you placed in charge? Asked Danzo. Naruto chuckled as he got to his feet for the first time, rubbing his wrists and forearms. As Naruto glanced towards Inuichi, I know I trust Inuichi, but do you want him to hear what I have to say? It's fine. Very well, said Naruto as he took a breath. As he looked straight into Sarutobi's eyes. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, 3rd Jinjutsu of the Kyuubi, the first full master of Tosenjutsu, the unofficial 6th Hokage of Konoha, and the 3rd commander of the Supreme United Army of the Elemental Nation, said Naruto. Flashback to the future. What do you mean you can't locate him? Aren't you guys supposed to be best sensors? The stern voice of Naruto came. Several men and women cringed under Naruto's gaze. Jonin General Kakashi had taken on a rescue operation to eliminate one of the bijuu statues, in hopes of reducing Tobi's power by freeing the bijuu. Unfortunately, Naruto started to believe that the whole thing was just a trap, as the members that came back said that Kakashi stayed behind, so that they could get away. As Naruto had sent out a few sensors, but none of them could find a trace of Kakashi's chakra at all. Damn it, said Naruto as he banged his fist on a nearby table, as he noticed Shinobi's jump in fright. He ran a hand through his hair. I'm sorry guys, it's not your fault. It's just very frustrating. You're dismissed, said Naruto. They all bowing immediately moved away from him. As Naruto cursed they were losing this fight, it was easy to see. It was probably time to talk their way about the steal that they found again, because they just lost Kakashi. Back to the present time. Here, as Naruto caught the envelope mask that was tossed to him, as he looked at it curiously. What's this for? He said, as Hiruzen moved and sat down in his office chair. Well, I was thinking we can't just have you appear out of nowhere. So I was talking to Sakumo and Danzo for a while, and we came to the conclusion that it would be best for you to at least be recognized as an envoy. This way, any history that we make up for you will seem possible, and we can claim that you were under my service the entire time. In case anyone asks you where you have been, state the mission is classified, of course. If anyone with clearance asks you what you have been doing, just state that you have been doing research in this Tobi character, who claims to be a second coming of Madara Uchiha, as you explained to us yesterday. If they have any further questions, point them to me. Sounds good, said Naruto. Also, since I'm an orphan, should we just continue with that? I was thinking about telling my parents who I am, but as I think about it more, I don't think that's a good idea. Sarutobi nodded. If you're already familiar with being an orphan, I don't think that we should change that. I'm assuming though that, since you brought it up, you would be able to tell them now. Yes, I know who they are, but I don't know if they're close to each other yet or not. My father is will be, the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Hiruzen's eyes widened at that. I see, he said. I thought that you resembled Minato a bit, but I was not certain. If the two of you were able to stand to each other, it could prove quite problematic. Yeah, said Naruto. I didn't think about that. Any ideas? We could just chalk it up to coincidence. Though if you continue to use Uzumaki's name and claim that you're an orphan, there could be a believable reference that you and Minato are distant related. I suggest talking to him about it first though. How old are you now? I will be turning 20 next month, said Naruto. That's even better. He is only 17. Therefore, if you indeed had some sheer relative, there will be no way that no one can confirm it, even if he's an orphan as well. I understand, Hiruzen said. So, your mother is Kushina, he said. As Naruto blinked, how did you... You were wondering before, but I can confirm that she and Minato are nearly inseparable when they're out of the village. It has been like that ever since he saved her from being abducted by those Kumo shinobis years ago. Besides that, while your hair and eyes resemble your father, your face resembles Kushina. That will help confirm to her that you're Alisa Uzumaki. Well, that is if she put you under her scrutiny. Naruto nodded as he looked at the mask in his hand. A fox. You did say that you were the Kyuubi third host, correct? I thought it would be fitting. As Naruto chuckled at that. Is there anything else that you need from me or want to know? He said. 2 things. Is the Kyuubi still in you now? And have you been in Anvu before? As Naruto nodded as he unzipped his jacket, as he pulled out his arm and showed the Anvu tattoo. As for the Kyuubi, I still have his chakra, but his consciousness is not in me anymore. It seems that the chakra is regenerating as well, so I can still use my abilities. But I'd rather avoid using any amount of that power unless it's an emergency. The Kyuubi itself is probably back inside my mom, but it agreed not to say anything until I first initiate contact. He briefly thought about using Kurama's name, but he decided that wasn't his right to say. I see. In any case, we'll leave you solo for now, and I'll try to fit you in operations with other Chonins and Jonins. As Hiruzen was shocked, as he never heard of anyone being on speaking terms with the Kyuubi. But I'm still a genin, said Naruto, as Hiruzen burst out laughing. It was just so amusing. Not anymore, you aren't. I'm assuming that it was just some circumstances that happened to make you keep that rank back then. But for someone who has the experience of being a general, and a Hokage, and a leader of the entire elemental nation, do you really expect me to overlook that and keep you doing D and C rank missions? Well, that's not happening. As Naruto chuckled, looking sheepish, it would be like a vacation for a little while. I know, but I'm sorry. Even though you just came from a war, we're going to be entering one soon. You know this as well as I do. I understand, said Naruto. Do you have any idea when we will enter? Our forces are on standby in the hidden rain in case rock or sand try anything. They've been keeping their fighting in bird country so far, so we haven't had to intervene. Other smaller forces are in river and grass just in case either of them try anything against our allies. We will deal with moving forces to waterfall when in time is necessary, Hiruzen said. Sand doesn't last long in the water. If I remember correctly, the rock is too strong for them. Speaking of, has my father used the Harashin yet? I can't say that anything by that name has been brought to my attention, Hiruzen said. What is it? I guess not then, said Naruto. It was or will be the technique to enable him to end this war. And one of the reasons why you nominate him as Fourth Hokage. I see, said Hiruzen. I've always thought that he was talented. In fact, only recently I've been considering people to take over once I'm done. It's probably the war and one other thing that affect your opinion about the job. Has Orochimaru already been chased out of the village? Sir Toby's eyes went wide until he remembered who he was talking to. No, what are you going on about now, he said. He caused a lot of problem later on, especially for you. Naruto did not have the heart to say that eventually Orochimaru will be the one to kill him, unless he was asked specifically for details. But that would be one death that he will prevent if he had any say in the matter. Sir Toby released a sigh. Some of his recent comments and activities has been disturbing me, but we can discuss my student later since I right now know that he's standing with Konoha. For now, your standard Anvu outfit will be given to you at the main office. You know where that is. Naruto nodded. Good. I don't care what you wear, but for a while, you will need to be seen in something close to Jonin gear while keeping your tattoo visible. People may not recognize you, but at least they won't question you. Otherwise, they will have to answer to me. Now, we just have to work on your history, and you will have to memorize it before leaving this office. As Naruto nodded, I guess I can start our meeting by saying, Welcome home, Jonin Commander Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto blinked at that, as he simply smiled though. It's good to be here, old man, he said. Time skip. As Naruto walked through the village of Vayne Leaf. It has been a long time since he walked through the village like this, especially since it was destroyed back when he was 16. They had done a good job rebuilding it, but it wasn't the same, and after it was destroyed the second time. Another thing that unnerved him a bit was seeing so many Uchihas. He hadn't gotten around to inform Sarutobi about the massacre yet, but it would be years before that happened. He would have to talk to the old man about uniting the Uchihas with the village, so they wouldn't be alienating themselves in the future. As he hummed to himself occasionally, people glanced towards him with a smile and a nod. As he nodded back, before, he would be, well, ignored or treated like some kind of celebrity. But now, he was in the middle. The Hokage had got him a standard apartment to use, and a few sets of jonin clothing, along with the sleeveless vest and the jonin jacket. As he rubbed at his arms, he was not used to having them exposed like this. He was wearing his master armed guards, since he wasn't on duty, but the outfit was similar to what Anvu's wear. His right upper arm was exposed, so the tattoo was visible. It wasn't long until a stench caught his nose, as he was dragged to the location. As he arrived towards... it wasn't named Ichiraku. There was a young Toki behind the counter, so perhaps it was... Just later he added a name. As he went and sat down, having the money pouch that Hiruzen gave him. "One Mr. Ramen, please," he said. "Of course, just a moment," said Toki. As Naruto closed his eyes, a smile on his face as he basked in the atmosphere. He normally would have ordered more, but he didn't want to spoil his visit. It had been so long since he had any ramen, and he wanted to enjoy this first bowl once again. Other than that, he simply wouldn't have enough money. Yet. "Wow, fancy meeting you here. So, Hokage-sama let you go?" As Naruto was surprised at that voice, as he slowly turned his head to see the one and only Minato Namikaze. What were the chances? "Yeah," said Naruto. "How did you like her to act? Was it convincing?" said Naruto as he tossed him in a smile, before looking back towards Toki, who was filling the bowl. He was amazed with his ability to keep a straight face upon seeing his dad. If he hadn't met his father in previous in the mindscape, he would have probably been acting like a fanboy at the moment. Luckily, he had grown up a lot, and he knew how to keep a straight face when needed. "Act?" said Minato as he tilted his head. "You mean that whole thing was staged?" As Naruto gave him a small wink, before nodded, and turned his head towards Toki, as he thanked the man, and dived in, ignoring Minato as he ate his food. "Hey, come on, just don't leave me hanging. What did you mean about it being an act?" said Minato. Naruto turned to face Minato some noodles, hanging from his mouth. As Minato's lips started to twitch, in amusement, as Naruto smirked as well before slooping them up. "What I meant is exactly what I said," said Naruto. "I was testing something for the Hokage, and it backfired. I was knocked out." He wasn't sure if it was me or an actual attack, so he had to act like it was an attack. He had to be cautious. When he found out that it was me, though, as he found me in the crater, I just played along. Minato seemed to buy what he said, as he turned to the bowl that Toki gave him. "So, I guess you can't say what it was that you were testing," said Minato. "Nope," said Naruto. "Sorry, not yet, anyway." Hokage-sama said to direct any inquiries to him, "So that is exactly what I'm gonna do," said Naruto. Minato kept on glancing towards Naruto like he wanted to ask more questions, until his eyes finally landed on the tattoo under the shoulder. "Oh, so you're Anvu. I've done a few things with them, but I haven't joined up. So you're out of the village a lot?" As Naruto nodded, "All the time. It's nice to just sit down and enjoy myself. And not running errands all the time," said Naruto. "So you don't run mission with the others then? Because I don't think I ever saw you before." "Not usually. I typically don't get the stuff that need a full team to complete. With the way I was trained, I'm pretty much a one-man army. I don't need to be paired with anyone. It sucks because I don't meet a lot of people, or really have any friends. But I love my home, and I'll do what is asked of me," said Naruto. A small grin formed on Minato's face hearing that. "One-man army, huh? I wouldn't say no to meeting another friend. Want to spar some time? Buttering me up so you can steal all my kick-ass moves. Friends, sure. Spar? No thanks," said Naruto. "What? I would never do that." As Naruto glanced, Minato actually seemed hurt by Naruto suggesting that. "If I manage to get some free time, I'll consider it. I usually don't have any free time though," said Naruto. Minato's demeanor instantly changed, as his face turned into a smile. "Excellent. If the Hokage has you doing special assignments, you must be very good. Most people are too afraid to spar with me now, because I always win." As Naruto knew what that felt like all too well. "Well then, I hope you're ready to lose." We'll see. By the way, my name, I knew I'd find you here." As Minato was cut off, as Naruto blinked. As Naruto's vision was blocked by a fluffy red hair. It didn't take too long for him to know that this was his mother. As much as he wanted to say something, he didn't want to slip up. Same thing that would make it look strange as Toki handed him his bill. He wasted no time as he paid and thanked the man. "Hey, wait!" Hold on a sec, Kushina, said Minato. Sorry. As Minato was trying to look around Kushina, her hair was blocking his view. My name is Minato. If you're freed up, be free to come find me around Training Ground 6 tomorrow at noon, okay? See you then. The name is Naruto Uzumaki, by the way. Nice to meet you, said Naruto. He heard his mother gasp as he flashed away. As he appeared in a nearby building, he had to read up on his history about Uza some more. He saw Kushina rush out of the stall as she looked around, but she did not see him anywhere. She shook her head slightly before placing her hands on her hips as she looked down disappointedly before returning back to the stall where Minato was. As Naruto had to go study, she would probably be hounding him tomorrow after a spar with Minato. But guys, it'll be in episode right here. If you want to see next parts, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share some of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way over in Anime King and Anime King 3. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.